Your Mississauga condo may have dropped over $50,000 this year. That's a crazy number to think about because a condo is not purchased to live in long term for most people. Most people are buying a condo, they're thinking short term. They're thinking 3 to 5 years because life changes, things move on, you have kids, you have another person who's going to live with you, and a condo tends to tighten all of that up and make life a little bit more uncomfortable. But if you bought one in the last few years, you might be forced to either sell it at a loss or continue living in it because the losses are going to be hard to stomach. In today's video, we're going to cover the September data for Mississauga. But before we do, tell me in the comment section down below, how excited are you for the Blue Jays to be in the playoffs, to be playing the Yankees in the second round? And let me know your prediction in the comment section down below. Who wins the series? How many games is it going to take? And who is going to be the MVP of the series? Now, if you're not a Jays fan, if you're not a baseball fan, I'm sorry to take 2 seconds of your time. So let's get into the numbers here in Mississauga. As you can see, we are seeing some ugly numbers. There's a lot of down arrows happening here. And as I started off the video with, you could have bought a condo last year for $585. And now it could be $535,000. And that's based on the median price of condos in Mississauga. As you can see up here, we only have Mississauga selected. We did a Brampton update. If you want to watch that one, by all means, watch that one as well. But this is Mississauga specific. Now, the average list price here, it's dropped 10%. That means sellers are really trying. Probably not hard enough because they don't have enough equity, but they're trying to meet the prices of the buyers to get things moving. There has been a 20% drop off in the amount of volume. So last year there was 1,300 transactions up to this point last year, and now we have up to 1,124 transactions. What that tells me is buyer demand. Unfortunately, it's not what it was last year. And if I had to make a prediction, the Jays have a better chance of winning the World Series than the whole real estate market actually rebounding in the next 24 months. Now, you might have heard that prediction in one of my other videos, but I'm going to say it again because I really do feel that we are in for a little bit of a ride here with the real estate market. I could be completely wrong, and I hope I am for any homeowners, but the data month after month hasn't looked like it's going in the right direction for rejuvenation of the market, so to speak. So as you can see here, we have new listings that are 14% more than last year, and we're down 18% in transactions. And this is the overall condo picture. You know, these videos, we like to give you the breakdown of it a little bit further. So let's look at what the one-bedroom condos in Mississauga are trading for right now. They're down 10% on the year, down to $457,000. So if you wanted to buy one, you're going to be looking in that $450 to $457 range for a one-bedroom. Price is not horrible. We're down 30% on transaction volume. We're up 24%. That's a swing of 54.7% or 55. That's a big swing in inventory and loss of transactions here year over year. Makes it tough to get into the market or to sell your property. Now, two bedrooms, they're trading for $555. Last year, they were trading for $620. So we are $70,000 off on those, another 10%. The trend is going to be continued across the board here. So we're down on interest for transactions. We are going to be up a solid 20% on inventory. So two bedrooms, people are trying to sell. The problem with two bedrooms for most people isn't the price, because the price for two bedrooms is pretty reasonable, $550s. The problem is two-bedroom condos have higher maintenance fees, and higher maintenance fees mean harder to qualify for, because about $350,000 on a maintenance fee is like adding another $100,000 to a mortgage payment. So keep that in mind when you're looking at properties or looking at mortgages and thinking about what the maintenance fee actually does. Roughly $350 a month maintenance is another $100,000 on the purchase. So you could, for example, buy something at $655 instead of $555, and that $350 maintenance would be the same thing as buying it at $555 with $350. So hopefully that doesn't confuse you or gives you a little bit more of an idea of how the markets work. Now, we've done this before, so we're going to make sure we click all those bedrooms back on. We're going to head to the other categories, and we will just go up the ladder here. Instead of going to the detached ones, we will go to condo townhouses. In Mississauga, the condo townhouses will populate here in a moment. We are down 6.2%, so not as bad as the condo. 759 last month. You could have snagged something for around 745 to 750, depending on the average or the median. We saw 33% more transactions, so that's actually great. Maybe some first-time buyers are getting in the market. Maybe it's the condos that have finally sold and people are upsizing. There's no real way to know for sure, because a lot of investors are buying those condos or have bought the Mississauga condos and are trying to sell them. They probably won't be buying something else. That's my guess. They've already lost a lot of money on that investment. Now, as you can see here, we are up 30% on the listings volume last month, but we took that listings volume and topped it off with transactions. So we didn't add any additional inventory, which is great because inventory is already high. If we're looking at the year-to-date numbers, this is a really good category. We're only up 10% on new listing volume. We're still down 20%, almost 15.6, but these numbers, they're a lot nicer on the condo townhouse side of things than they are on that condo side of things. Now, if we're going to check out freeholds, this price is going to skip way up to almost $1 million. $968. Last year, it would have cost you $1,055,000. So 8.2% difference. This past month, you could have snagged something for even less than the year-to-date numbers. And transaction volume, we've actually had more transactions in this category than last year. This is a rarity. I didn't see it in all of the Brampton update at all. So that's interesting to see here. And that might be because there's just too much of a gap from a condo or a condo townhouse to a detached or a semi. The price gap is way too thick. Now, you're looking transactions and listings. So we have a 15% up and a 1% down. So like this here is a really nice spread, 14% difference between the two, but we're seeing 50%, 40% in a lot of the other categories. So something to consider if you are looking to buy a freehold townhouse, there's a lot more competition happening here than there is in the other categories. Semi-detached is going to fall just slightly above that at 981. So semi versus a freehold townhouse, pretty much the same thing. And let's see if the data shows the same as well. So 63 to 60 transactions. So we have more transactions happening, a little bit more listing volume here. And of course, we're off year to date, but it's only 4.4%. So that's pretty solid in the big picture here. We are typically not seeing 4%. We're seeing bigger spreads. And then if we wanted to look at the new listing volume, we're up 23% as well. So not as strong as the freehold townhouses, but there's a lot of activity happening here. And that's nice to see. We already explained why that is. And let's take a look at the detached category. If I'm selling a detached home right now, I'm only selling it if I have to upsize or if I can't afford to live there anymore. But let's see where we're at. We've dropped off 6.1% for the year, 1.468 being the average, 1.3 being the median, 13% drop off in transaction volume, 16% increase in listing volume. So people are trying to sell and we are not biting on that. So we're just adding inventory here. This past month, you could have got some better deals than the year numbers. And that's because the year numbers are actually coming down every month. Every average and median for that given month seems to be lower than the year to date. So these numbers are getting dragged down here. There was an increase in volume. So we had 177 to 169 last month, 4.7% increase. And look at the amount of new listings. So this is the fall market. I was going to say spring. It's the fall market. 706 detached listings. These are families, likely have some kids. They weren't going to list during the summer because it rattles everything up, but the kids are back in school. The listings hit the market. So we saw 206 more listings than the prior month, 41% increase. That is a lot more detached homes, and that's showing us why we saw so much more transaction volume. Maybe some better options hit the market for people who are actually looking to get into the market. Now, if you've watched our other update videos, I'm going to show you where all this inventory is. So we're going to go and we're going to take a look at Mississauga. These are some indicators for the last 2 years. Obviously, you know, the big ones, months of inventory is up, active listings is up, Days on market has fluctuated. We're not at the peak, but we're still averaging 34 days on market here. And when we're looking at your average price, 2 years ago, October 2023 was $1,092,000, and then we are now at 962. So 130,000. The average price has come down in the last 2 years. This chart here on the left is going to show you active listings by price range. Every type of property has a different color. As you can see up top here, we've got 2,621 listings, only 300 more listings than what Brampton has, which is interesting. But Brampton's biggest category is the detached, around that 700,000 to 800,000 price point. Look at Mississauga's here. We have a literal ton of condo and condo townhouse inventory under $700,000, which is these categories here. Look at all of this inventory. You have the biggest categories between $500,000 and $600,000. This is condos, this is investors, this is people who've lived in the condos, this is anybody who owns those condos trying to sell them. But there is a lot, and that is a tough pill to swallow. So between $500,000 and $600,000, you are going to see condo apartments. There is 316 to choose from. There is also 220 to choose from under $500,000. So there's a lot to choose from. And then as you can see, detached dominates over 1.2 and even over $1 million. And then the rest are spread out throughout there. Overall, it's going to take you about 42 days to sell something in today's market, assuming that you've priced it correctly. That's the key. If you're not pricing it correctly, you're not selling your home at the end of the day. So something to keep in mind. For me, what does all of the data mean? When I keep seeing these months of inventory pile up, when I keep seeing the prices go down, and now we have September data. We've been talking about getting September data over the last couple months because June usually is a pretty good month, but it tapers off the back half, and then we get summer for July and August, where summer is usually slow. But I expected September numbers to be better. They were not. We're looking at numbers that are, for the most part, lower than the previous month. That's not great. If we're seeing numbers lower than the previous month, and the previous month was summer, that means the market is probably trending worse as we get into the winter. Because if we don't see strong numbers in October, November, December, January, there's really no history of them having strong data except for the bidding war years, which were not there. So if we don't have a strong month in October, it's going to be a cold winter. And I don't know what happens. I don't know if people bother putting their houses on the market, because you can see we've got 5,000 units between Brampton and Mississauga, just between the two places, 26 in Mississauga alone. So I'm very curious to see how things pan out. There's some opportunity here. Obviously, as it gets cold, buyers and sellers, they don't really want to be transacting. I don't want to be out there. You don't want to be out there. Nobody wants to be out there in the cold. But things still happen. And that's when the best deals are on the market. Because if a seller has to sell, their home will be on the market. They're not going to casually try it out in December. It's a horrible idea. But if they have to sell, maybe they bought something else, maybe they can't afford to keep their current home, then you are going to have some opportunity to get a really good price. You might even get a better price in November, December than you will in the last 12 months, or even in the next 12 months potentially. It's just a seasonality thing, a timing thing. So if you're thinking of getting into the market, you've got questions, feel free, reach out, scan that code on the bottom here. I'll help you get into the market in the best months that are good for you as a buyer. And if you're looking to sell as a seller, if I look outside right now, it's still nice. We're going to have a weekend here where it's extremely hot. The weather hasn't cooled off. If you're thinking of maybe listing in the February, March timeframe, your listing media is going to look horrible with snow on the ground, slush on the ground, snow on the roof. This is a good time to get your media done before it starts to look a little bit ugly with the fall colors. So if you're thinking of listing in the next 6 months, do your media now. Book your media day, have everything done before the end of October, and then you're going to have much better looking media than the rest of the properties that are on the market. So if you're thinking of selling in the next few months, but you want to have proper media and not media where everything is snow covered, reach out to me. We'll get our media team out there and schedule that with you as well. Thanks so much for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one. If you're thinking of getting into the real estate market and you don't know where to start, that video right there is a first-time homebuyer video. Get your popcorn. It's 26 minutes. You're not leaving the computer or TV anytime soon, but I'll walk you through step by step what you need to know before you get into the real estate market. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one.